Alrighty, welcome to Mr. Baker's House of Knowledge. Today we're going to pick up the fifth and final way to prove two triangles congruent. This way is assuming that you're dealing with a right triangle. Now, a right triangle is any triangle that has a right angle in it. By the way, what is the most number of right angles you could possibly have in a right triangle? 2. So 2 is 90 plus 90, which is 180. What would the third angle have to measure? 0. And then that's not a triangle. That's just a line sitting on top of a line. So if one angle is 90, all the other angles in there have to be less than 90. So you can only ever have one right angle in a triangle. Let me repeat that because that's important. You can only ever have one right angle in a triangle because of the triangle angle sum theorem. So, because there can only be one right angle in the right triangle, you need to realize that allows us to label certain sides with certain names based on the positioning of the right angle. So, in a triangle, the right angle always touches two sides, and we're going to call those the legs of the triangle. And then the side that doesn't touch the right angle, the side opposite the right angle, is going to be called the hypotenuse. And so we're going to pick up the hypotenuse leg theorem. And the hypotenuse leg theorem says if you know the hypotenuses of two right triangles are equal and you know either one of their legs are equal, then the two triangles will be congruent. That's all it says. Now, there's been a key to all of our 5 ways to prove lines parallel. And by the way, what are the 5 ways to now prove two triangles? I said lines parallel. I meant triangles congruent. What are the 5 ways to prove two triangles congruent? Side, 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 angle, 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 side, and hypotenuse leg. Those are the 5 ways to prove two triangles congruent. I would expect you, if I ask you tomorrow on a pop test, to be able to tell me what are the 5 ways to prove two triangles congruent. All right, so notice that side, side, side has 3 pieces of information. Side, angle, side has 3 pieces of information. Angle, side, angle has 3 pieces of information. Angle, angle, side has 3 pieces of information. Hypotenuse leg actually has 3 pieces of information. And that's where people mess up on this one. That's what causes them problems, is they're not thinking about the total package of hypotenuse leg. So let's look at, when we have hypotenuse leg, let's look at what 3 pieces of information we have. We have the fact that there are 2 right triangles. Hypotenuse leg does not work unless you're dealing with right triangles. So fact number 1, which is not stated in its name, is these are right triangles. Then fact number 2 is we have congruent hypotenuses, and fact 3 is we have congruent legs. Now let me ask you this real quick. If I were to do 2 triangles, and I were to ask, why are these triangles congruent? So I'm going to do a triangle here, and I'm going to do a triangle here. And I'm going to ask why these 2 triangles are congruent. Why are these 2 triangles congruent? Side, angle, side. Not hypotenuse leg. Why are they not congruent by hypotenuse leg? Because you don't know if the hypotenuses are congruent. So just because you have a right triangle and the triangles happen to be congruent doesn't mean that it is always by hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse leg means exactly what it says. It means you have a hypotenuse and a leg that are congruent. So if in this situation right here, I say, why are these 2 triangles congruent? Now you can say what? Hypotenuse leg. So remember, every situation will have 3 pieces of information that tell you that now the 2 triangles are congruent, And when we say the triangles are congruent, then after that we actually know 6 pieces of information to be true. And we'll talk about that in more detail in a different class. All right, so let's take a look at this hypotenuse leg stuff. Let's just jump right in and let's do a proof. So I want you guys to go ahead and work through this proof. I want you to compare your answers with your table partner, and then we'll come back and we will discuss. All right, so hopefully you've had some time to work this out. Let's see what we got. In statement number 1, I'm just going to restate the given. So this is the statement side of the T-chart. These are the reasons. Statement number 1, angle PRS and angle RPQ are right angles. And SP congruent to QR. Now I should probably go ahead and say that triangle PRS and triangle RPQ are right triangles. Because somewhere you have to state that the triangles are right triangles to be able to use hypotenuse leg. So you might not have known to apply the definition of right triangles, but you need to go ahead and state that the triangles are right triangles before you can ever use hypotenuse leg. So when I go back through your proof and I'm grading your proof, if you said hypotenuse leg at the end, I'm looking for those 3 things: right triangles, a hypotenuse, and a leg. We've already got the hypotenuse is congruent. How is PR congruent to PR? By what? Reflexive. And could I say PR congruent to RP? Yeah, I mean, it's the same line, so it's still reflexive. That's not symmetric. Reflexive. And then finally, now I know that the 2 triangles are congruent. Triangle PRS congruent to triangle RP. Which one's R? The first one. RPQ, and that is by hypotenuse leg. Do I have the 4 things, or the 3 things? I have hypotenuse congruent, I have the fact that it's a right triangle, and I have leg congruent. Go ahead and mark the leg congruent on my drawing here. So I have the 3 things that I need, so yep, it's hypotenuse leg. All right, now that I've gone through that, I'm going to give you one to try. All right, let's see how far you got. Some of you look like you're a little bit stuck. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say that angle ABE and angle CBD are right angles. And the reason I can do that is the definition of a perpendicular bisector. So anytime you're applying knowledge that you know, chances are it's a definition. Definition of perpendicular bisector is it splits 2 things in half and it does it at a 90-degree angle. So now that I know that those 2 angles are congruent, I can say the 2 triangles are right triangle. I mean, now that I know the 2 angles are right angles, I can say that the 2 triangles, triangle ABE and triangle CBD, are right triangles. And that's definition of right triangle. So already I picked up 2 note cards that I might need to make that I don't already have. So now that I know that they're triangles and I know that these angles are congruent, I can also say that CB is congruent to BE. Once again, definition of a perpendicular bisector. Bisectors cut things in half, and they also cut them in half at right angles. And now statement 5, triangle CBD is congruent to triangle EBA, and that reason is hypotenuse leg. Any questions?